Okay, 6:30, I'm gonna call to order the September 10th, 2024 meeting of the Town of Rutland Planning Board. First agenda item is our minutes from August 13th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, but I have questions.
I'll second the minutes.
Okay, discussion.
May I ask what, on public hearing amendment, the subdivision regulation, DWG stands for?
Oh, that's the, for CAD. That's the
DWG
for
file.
CAD.
It's a CAD file that you don't have to have AutoCAD to open.
The .dwg you put in front of it like
Like a PDF.
Yeah,
Probably
Not PDF.
Probably short for drawing.
Yes,
That's
okay.
exactly what it is.
But, couple of words prior to it, says as built. And, the board briefly discussed adding a condition for as built. I feel that we must have an engineer review all as builts.
We do.
Stamped, initialed,
The as-built is sent to Quinn Engineering for review.
and does he stamp them and?
he won't stamp them because he put a stamp over a stamp.
He can't.
He reviews the stamp that's there from the existing PE,
And we'll issue a letter.
yeah.
Right,
and
that it can,
go
that it
on They can
complies.
be applied to it.
Yep, but that stamp that's there is from the developer, whoever, that's the official stamp.
Yeah.
I,
Our reviewing engineer won't own that. If he
Yeah.
stamps it, he owns it, so.
But I like this DWG because then we can put a CAD file somewhere that can be easily turned into a PDF or anything.
Especially
down
on
the road.
larger subdivisions.
what I am getting at is the fact of what we gave Joe, a long time ago. And it was, as built, Bryce.
Yeah, we gave him a PDF if I'm not mistaken.
We gave him the rolls of the maps.
Yeah,
And to the best of my knowledge, nothing was ever done.
yeah, from now on, Chris should be getting a PDF and a DWG to put in a file somewhere on the server. So down the road, if you ever need those, you could send them to Weston and Sampson, have them reviewed,
Yes.
cause paper gets lost.
And I've already had a discussion with Chris about this, so that's one of the reasons why. I want something there.
I think
Make sure.
I think, if I remember right, in our subdivision regs, in the back part of it, we do as-bills, we put electronic form.
Yes,
Yeah,
We just didn't put DWG.
that might be outdated in another 2 years too.
No, DWGs have been
yeah,
around
exactly.
they've been around for about 30 years. AutoCAD's not going anywhere. Autodesk will make sure of that, but that way we've got something that's actually that somebody, if Chris had to send it to Weston Sampson, they could actually go in and do the calculation of the physical pipe and with PDFs, depending how it's saved, that may or may not be true.
And so the as-built, like, I think during that discussion, if I recall, what we wanted to capture there was any changes made in the subdivision that were different from the original approval, i.e. also field changes, as-built should capture those. So by requiring them to give us an as-built, it's showing this is what we actually installed. And then I think the crux of that conversation was to not just have a paper set that may go off in the distance someday, but to have that a digital backup as well. I think that's where that conversation was going.
And the other thing I was pressing for that I don't think I mentioned, I thought about after we left, is the one thing our developers haven't done a lot on the drawings is revisions. They'll just keep, this is the same drawing with the date on it. Some have, but we need revision codes of when, like the as-built. So
Yeah.
it'll say as-built 9/6/2024. We've gotta make sure we force them to do that. So the set that Chris would get would have as-built on it and the date it was as-built, that P stamps on it. Quinn reviews it, sends us a letter, we're done. or we find 96 differences and then
Another
deal
thing,
with that.
another thing I'm noticing as I'm going through the files that needs to be enforced is whenever there are plan revisions during a development and there are multiple revisions, not all developers are putting the dates that they're revising these plans on the sheet. So when it's difficult for me to know, am I looking at a revision? Am I looking at something else? So that's something that needs to start happening. That's something I'm not used to. I'm used to plans where it's like revision date, March, April, boom, 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 and every time they made a
There's a whole
revision,
block
that's a
for
date.
that.
Yeah.
In the plan.
Exactly.
And I think on Rice Lemon, we started enforcing that because on the first phase, there were changes made on the road and like where the wall was, and we
Yes.
forced, Clee's, drafter to go in and make the revisions and put on there when it was revised and what was revised, cause sometimes you just revise one page. You don't need to revise the whole set, just a page.
Don't need a full set revision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people that wanna do that, and that doesn't help anybody try to figure out what happened.
Just a comment, so in the email inbox I had, like, for example, that head wall that wants to go to riprap or whatever, stone, would that be a revision? Does that, would you?
If you're, if it's a
Especially if-
material change, yes, that would be
I mean,
captured.
if Quinn is saying it's okay, would that just roll into as-built, or would that be a revision?
To do it the right way, the detail would be changed
Okay.
to reflect
In the as-built.
the new installation and whatever, like, whether they're putting Mylar down or whatever, not
Yeah.
Mylar, yeah, whatever. This is a very nice wall, by the way.
Boy,
No, I can't think of the dang name, it's a barrier, a water barrier, but yeah.
Yeah,
All that would be captured in the revision.
And the date.
Should have been, should be.
yeah, cause that's, not to say that that seems like an on-the-fly change, but if it is it more of, like you said, lost in the paper, or even the way you were describing it,
I
lost?
would
in the
describe
paper?
them because that particular thing was, they showed a sewer line on both sides of the road when it's only on one side of the road.
And I'm gonna be adamant, cause I've got strike two on me. First was the bridge over Ridge Road, or not Ridge Road, Grizzly.
Grizzly,
That
yeah.
we waited to get
Details
drawings
by
after it
others.
was detailed, and now in Brittenell Estates, I thought, like I said, it was gonna be a taller one, and it's not, because we didn't have the details as part of the, package. This is me, I'll let the board do what they want, I'm not gonna let that happen ever again on a plan. I strike two, that's on me, it's not happening again. And I know what Clee said, we don't have a design before, unacceptable, they're gonna design it before we sign off on the definitive.
I'd agree on that.
Anything else, Dick?
Yes, but in order to keep a civil head, I'll shut up.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Maybe.
That's not on the list. Yes, no.
Okay, unless there's any objection.
Approved with prejudice.
I'm gonna skip to item 3 on the agenda, which is a public hearing. So we do have a public hearing on an application for a special permit, for a, accessory dwelling unit, at 8 Clearview Road. And we have, read the application. We have the plot plans.
We do have architectural plans and floor plans, they were just too large a format to scan in, so if anyone wants to see them, they can.
Just, 2 seconds if you have them, real quick. That was my only, one of my questions was, were they requesting a waiver for that?
No.
Have a nice little.
That's basically, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, Britton, it looks like it's going in over here on the right side.
Yep, yeah.
It'll be in the next.
One bed.
I guarantee it.
It'll be sooner than later.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Nope, I've
I'm
looked.
I'm a plan junkie, so.
No, said there is a waiver or there is?
No.
No, it's just, part of our requirements for submission is the architectural, but I didn't know if there was a
Oh,
waiver.
yes. Yep, yep.
I didn't see him, so.
Yeah, I was surprised.
So any questions, comments from, well, anything that the applicant would like to say?
All I can say is I thank you to John, he's been really excellent every step of the way. I'm green at this, scared to death to have to do anything like this, first time in my life. Making major life decisions for my husband and myself, and he's been great, our architect has been great, and we just are grateful to everybody for helping us get to building our death home.
Lord.
That's what it is, baby!
That got dark fast.
So the kids are gonna.
Put that evil on us.
Yeah, really, actually, I think the dog is
This
taking
just turned
over.
into a B-rated horror movie.
And we're gonna have a lock, they can come in, but we can't get out.
It's like the Roach Motel.
Yeah, really. Just shovel my car in the snow.
I would like to say thank you for the,
Yes.
these are, in my book, I'm not gonna speak for the rest of the board, these are very easy to look at. You have a professional survey, you have a professional plan set, everything's clean, it looks great. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. No,
See, I've seen a lot that come in here with crayons, so.
Yeah, Kevin
Yes.
does a great job, I've used him before, so.
He's
So
fabulous,
thank you for
really.
a complete, and thank you for helping.
You're welcome, yeah, no
This
problem,
makes,
yeah.
that makes it easy
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
The
no
only
questions.
question I had was, since Chris is here, have you guys done any thought process of with these getting added on for water and sewer? I know in this case, we've only got one or two in town, but if this takes off, is this a water and sewer issue? Because you're gonna be
Well,
adding.
are they on town water and sewer down there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the reason I asked, cause I didn't see any if there's a pool there, I'm guessing you don't have a septic system there.
No, it's town.
Yeah.
Has that crossed your desk yet or
No,
discussion?
but eventually it's gonna
Okay.
matter.
Okay, that's all I wanted to throw out there, nothing on this one, cause
We're
this
gonna
is,
bring this up a little later on.
yeah, this will come
Very
up,
involved.
yeah. Okay, good, cause when I saw the pool, I'm like, I don't see, knowing my experience with septic systems, there's not gonna be a
Yeah.
pool close to a septic system.
No.
Well,
We're on
actually,
septic in Paxton, so.
I had I had a pool when I was in Chicago that was on top of their septic system.
Oh, no.
That was a nasty smell when that thing,
Ooh,
cause the weight just crushed it.
yeah.
Yeah, so we had a neighbor that had a little bit of a smell.
Why would you do that?
Good
God.
Kids, we went to pool for the kids and didn't think about, and out in Chicago, everything's clay, so we didn't have the nice absorbing soil that we have in Massachusetts.
Did we open up the public hearing?
Yes.
Yes. What time was that?
6:40-ish.
Thank you.
Number 638, Dick.
Thank you.
Boom.
You're welcome.
I didn't have any questions for me, I mean, this was a complete package.
Very
Yeah, thank you, makes it easy.
Yeah,
Anybody, any
yeah.
questions?
Am I good?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
quite yet.
Too bad the pool's coming out, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
It's one less nightmare to deal with.
absolutely.
They are a lot
Well,
harder.
yep, so,
I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Well, first of all, is there any member of the public out there?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi,
could you name and address,
Joel
please?
Kirk, 10 Clearview Road.
Okay.
Oh, hi,
Hi.
nice
So,
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I had two questions and they're both minor. I appreciate the plan as far as what I could see online, with what's there. It said entrance would be the rear. So I'm assuming you're coming from the driveway around the back of the house in up?
No,
Okay,
well, there'll be an entrance, next to the main entrance, coming in from the front, from Clearview.
okay.
And then the back will have a deck with a slider
And like stairs down?
and stairs down.
But that's not gonna be the primary entrance, the
No,
primary
the
entrance will be the front?
Yes, yep,
It'd almost operate like a duplex, two separate entrances in the front, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got two
Okay.
egresses, front and then the one on the deck.
yep.
Okay. And then, and the only other question I had was, were you gonna reinstall a pool after the addition was done?
You know what, with the kids and their ages and their activities, they're involved in sports. Honestly, I think they were in the pool twice all summer. So I don't think that's gonna be an item.
All right,
But-
because the only question I had is with the addition over
Yeah.
there, the pool would then be in the backyard, which is directly opposite mine
Yes,
with what's there. And I'm not really concerned about it, but it was just a question.
no.
that was
At
there.
this point, honestly, no.
She got
And I can't see myself getting in and out of a pool anytime soon.
Well, I got one in my backyard I haven't opened in 3 years, so I understand.
So as I look at our daughter's house,
the address.
you're to the left?
I'm on the left.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I've never met you. Well, it's very nice to
It
meet
was very
you.
nice to meet you too.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
Is that it?
That's it.
Awesome.
Street, it says 8.
Okay, anyone else?
Oh, the lot, and
Anywhere.
the street number are different.
I would say the lot and the street number are different, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so lot 8 is number 32?
Yes, no,
No,
the
it's
address
lot
is 8,
32,
it's lot
it's
number
8.
32.
This is 8 Clearview right there.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
I was lot 31.
Yes.
Yep, and that's 10 Clearview right there, so he's
Okay.
right next door.
Alright,
It's a confusion.
yeah,
Then I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unless anybody sees any reason not to, I'll entertain a motion to approve the special permit.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on this one?
Okay, so,
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It's unanimous.
I know we don't normally do this, but seeing as I'm leaving for vacation tomorrow at noon and to try and expedite her process post-approval, I did draft a decision for the board to consider, if the board is willing to consider endorsement of the decision tonight, and if you want me to, I can quickly go through the decision, if you haven't had a chance to look at it.
I have read it. I don't have any concerns. The only concern was, I think it's just an administrative error. Section A, review criteria. Paragraph 2, it says the proposed addition will not result in an increase in the number of bedrooms.
Oh, yeah.
However, we are increasing by 1 bedroom.
I will take that out.
That's just an
Yep, I will
administrative.
take that out. Good catch.
Other than that, I mean, it's very well written and straightforward.
Say I looked at it online.
So if it pleases the board, to make a motion, to actually, not to make a motion, but to endorse the decision tonight, so I can make those other minor changes tomorrow and get it filed with the town clerk, so her 20 days can, start before I leave for vacation, and that way she can get the decision, I believe, on October 2nd, and you'll be eligible to get whatever permit you need after that.
Okay, just to keep it up on the up and up, do I have a motion to endorse the decision?
So moved.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? Once again, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. 10th. Thank you, Bert. Oh, thank you. What are you taking my pen for?
I'm known for that.
Yeah, no kidding. Pens.
Gotta watch yourself around me with the pens.
Just steal them from your subs, that's it.
That's what I do all the time. I'm like, oh, wow, did it again.
Don't worry, they'll get back at you with the.
Oh, 100%. That bill's in there plus markup.
Onward down the line.
Leave yours open, Dick, I'll sign on your line.
So, you know, I have to say that I'm kinda happy to see that some people are making use of a bylaw that we finally managed to enact and get
Yep.
into place, and so forth.
Well, I said that to John from the get-go, you know, you gotta do it the right way,
Yeah.
and there are no questions.
Yeah.
No.
And those Doug Briggs is coming right along.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
So, yep, so tomorrow I will make these changes, file it with the town clerk. I'll send out the notices to abutters, so they're all set, and then October, 2nd will be the day will be the end of your 20-day appeal period that you can pick up the plan from the clerk and have it recorded.
Okay, great. Thanks a million, John.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
Nice to
evening.
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'll see you in the neighborhood.
Oh, you will.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that,
Safe
Norm.
travels, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Back to item 2.
Yes.
Discussion of Hilltop Estates, water and sewer, infrastructure.
Since we got Hill State open,
Can I read,
Okay.
I'd like to read
Oh,
the
yeah,
email
yeah,
from town
sorry.
council before we start this discussion and go off. Norm, is it okay if I read the email? So just to give a little bit of background to everybody, when we initially discussed this, before Chris was in attendance, there was a question as far as the legality of potentially, having the homeowners association responsible for the maintenance of water and sewer lines, especially in the area in a road and connected to a pump station that the town has already approved, and accepted. So I just got this at 5:03 tonight, so I would like to read it for the public record so everyone knows. Chris has a copy. So here is their answer, and I asked if someone from town council could be available by Zoom tonight, but unfortunately they couldn't be. And that's my fault, it was late notice. Oh, sure.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but.
So, John, with regard to your question, I am not aware of anything that would legally prevent a private party from owning a water and sewer line in a public way if the town wanted to do so. In fact, the general rule is that water lines, sewer lines that are installed by a private party do not become part of the public water supply system and the town's public sewer infrastructure unless such lines are formally accepted by the town, which I assume the town has not accepted these water and sewer lines as part of the town's public infrastructure. Which she's right. This type of arrangement would have to include an easement between the town and the developer, allowing the developer to use the way to install and then maintain and work on the lines, and there would have to be some binding agreement between the abutters as to who is going to be responsible for the lines. It would probably require a homeowners association to maintain the lines, which obviously there's gonna be one in this case. I expect the town would reserve the right of the town to perform maintenance if the developer homeowners association fails to maintain the facilities, which is true. It is often common for towns to enter into sewer and water extension agreements whereby the developer constructs the facilities according to the town specs, and once the construction has been completed, for the towns to inspect and approve the work, and the towns are therefore responsible for its maintenance. Many towns are often leery about having private developers to be responsible for utilities connected to town infrastructure within private ways. The towns want to make sure they can control the maintenance. So, I just wanted to read that because there was some, this response actually surprised me a little bit, but that, I wanted to read that first so it would kind of inform the discussion as you go forward. Thank you, Norm.
Okay. Now, I don't know, just going back a little bit of history here. Apparently, your predecessor did not have any problem with reinstalling and the town taking over these water and
I
sewer.
don't know about that,
We don't have any documents on it.
Right, and I personally have a problem with taking it over.
Yeah.
I think that homeowners association up there, as far as I know, there's no sewer extension permit that's ever been taken. So now, and I guess what I was told is that Joe, or the previous, whatever, said, oh, instead of an extension, just use it as a make a service. To me, a service, you own a service from your house to where it goes into our main, so that would make that a service for all those houses up there to Grizzly.
To the main and the pump station?
No, because it flows
Just
into
main
where it
on
ties.
on
Okay.
Grizzly.
Okay.
But if you sewer line runs from your house out to the main, you're responsible for it from your house to the main. The town doesn't own isn't responsible for any of that service.
that's all their finance if they have to fix it, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Doesn't even
If
matter.
the roots go in there, it's on them,
Yeah.
not the town.
That's, yeah.
So, to me, that is just a service. They put in a nice system, but it's a service, and all those houses up there on those estate lots are all gonna have big, long, E1 lines And it's all gonna end up going down to Grizzly. But I don't believe the town should be responsible for that system.
Chris, the question I had for you is, I thought when the station was put in, that they ran a sewer line, was that a temporary road or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
A temporary road to Brittenell and blind flanged it. And then it,
They ran a line now, they just did it last year. They tied into Grizzly and they went up and they got a manhole on, it crossed Brittenell. And they got a manhole off the side of the road
okay,
on Brittenell, right across from that,
potential
what used to
subdivision.
be a right of way, or construction right of way.
Yeah,
So it's buried under there and there's a manhole out there and that's private property. And
So,
we did go down there and watch while they were putting it in, so
Yep.
at least we do know that what we saw was installed properly.
from Brittenell to the pump station, you guys are confident that that's a good installation?
Yeah, we checked in on them once in
Okay.
a while, just to make sure, but I still
Were there
didn't have
any-
any plan on actually accepting that.
Were there any signatory inspections, meaning like, did we sign off on any inspections requested by Blair Development?
As far as I know, there was nothing signed, we just, people auto did the job and he'd call up and say, hey, you know.
Come by, say, yeah, you're good, or,
So, I mean, I don't believe I've seen any tests for testing the line, testing the manholes.
No pressure tests or any of that stuff?
I haven't seen any of it.
See, my struggle with, again, I was doing some checking, I went to towns and saw what other private, and most towns tried to stay away from private. They would let it be private from like the entrance of a subdivision in, if the homeowners wanna do that, that's all on them, cause like you said, it's basically a private main that they're responsible for. But once it got to a public road, the towns took over. Again, this was not Rutland, this was other towns. So my struggle was with, once it crosses over Brittenell and heads down into the pump station, I don't know, and this is where we're gonna need some help. How do we have a homeowners association be responsible for that line all the way to Grizzly? Cause it's not, they don't have any property there. That's my struggle right now, from the subdivision standpoint. And this is for the board, not just for you, Chris.
That was put in for those houses,
Yeah,
to me, that's
But,
just,
yeah, the thing is, like, for instance, at my house, at anyone's house, normally, when you have a, town water, town sewer, whatever it is, the homeowner's responsible for whatever's on their property.
correct.
As soon as it hits the public roadway, it's the town. So how would this be, that's my question, how would this be different?
Because as soon as you go across the street, it's back to private.
Yeah, so you'd almost have to do an easement.
I mean, a perfect example is on the other end of Brittenell.
Oh, I know that one well, I know it really well.
should know.
Oh, yeah, how
So I
many
think
times
I-
that thing's going
When
across?
that thing runs through everybody's yard and up over the mountain.
Yeah.
The town's not ever gonna take that.
And it actually
over.
goes under Palmagussit too, over to Jimmy's houses,
Crosses Palmagussit and it crosses Brittenell.
and then it goes up to the pump station.
So the
Yeah.
town's not responsible for what crosses Palmagussit or goes under Palmagussit, correct?
That's all
Okay.
E1 stuff.
Even though it's a public
We've never
road.
accepted that.
Yeah, that was all, basically, and I'm maybe wrong, I think there's 4 or 5 houses there on my side of Palmagussit. That's all private, it goes under Palmagussit, then hooks into those one on Brittenell, that's all
All three
private too.
houses, there's at least,
excuse me.
I think 4.
all those
Jimmy's got.
new houses that are on Palmagussit,
Those are all
on the
E1,
west side,
yep,
all ones on the east side, and then all the way into Brittenell.
are all on private
And
sewers.
then up the old driveway,
Yeah, and up
and then
the,
it also crosses the street, and it's stubbed out there
Oh,
for
it's
those
that red
lots
house
that are
on the
still
other
out.
house.
Those lots, there's an unbuilt lot there.
yeah, I saw
too.
that today when I got
And I
back.
believe that's stubbed out down there.
That's private over there too, Chris, I didn't know
Same
that.
guy owns it all.
Holy my God.
We got a problem.
Yeah, well, the homeowners who own it have a problem, cause there's no HOA that I know of for that, it's in their deeds, I guess.
Well, it's much bigger than that, like.
That's a 2-inch plastic line buried real deep up over that mountain.
Yeah,
And it dumps on Arrowhead in a
It went up Mr. Helly's,
then it goes-
Michelonis's driveway.
Yeah, it went up that old driveway.
Yeah, I remember, I almost bought a house there.
I
So,
think something should be done, I would have to say, I would hesitate or put a hold on this until,
cause I think.
Well, there's a lot of big questions, right? Like, A, what documentation does anybody have anywhere of anything? Whether it's emails, I'm sure the developer had conversations at some point via something we can look at and say, okay, this was the conversation. Because at the end of the day, I agree with you 100%. Like, well, I don't think that we're gonna be responsible for that ultimately, but again, it's a much larger conversation because now you have residents that live there and this is completely new to them, I'm sure.
Well, they've already had the expense of having it fixed once.
And it's just one of those things that, from my past experiences, we wanna be extremely thorough with how we review this.
Well-
Any inspections that were performed, calls, anything that was signed off on, that's why I asked about signatory. Like if somebody signed off on inspection, whether it's a digital on, a lot of towns are digital, I don't know if we have that here. Or if it's a signed paper copy, or if there was no permit pulled. I'm sure the installer probably hired a third-party firm like a UTS or something and maybe did pressure testing or backfill compaction testing. I hope, I don't know. But those are the things, like, that's the information we need to be requesting, like, post haste. And where is this now? Who's tested it? Other than someone coming, even, they may even be a town, part of the DPW coming out and say, yeah, that's good. But we know that that's not like that doesn't obligate the town to be like, all right, now the town owns it because he came out and looked at it. That's where I don't want this conversation to go, because I have a feeling that's where it's gonna go. Well, no, DPW came out and looked at it. You said they were good.
Well,
I think it's a much larger issue than,
and that's my fear, Britton, is that if we're gonna approve this subdivision, and to Chris's point, if the main is at Grizzly, then there's gonna have to be an easement up that whole old temporary road, and then an easement across
That
Brittenell.
isn't shown on the plans right now.
No, it's not, that's my point, John.
Those-
None of those
that would have
documents.
to
who
be-
owns, who,
That's private property,
so they would need an easement granted from the current owner.
which is Cleese. Clee owns that.
So
if I'm
then
not
he would be
mistaken,
able to get
section
that, so
there.
that wouldn't be a
I don't
problem.
know if he does.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think he does, right? That
really?
construction easement that they
you think
had?
that's, again, this is questions we need to find out.
Clee was invited here tonight, I don't know why he didn't appear, but it would have been great if he were here.
Cause we need to know,
they're gonna run
if he owns that property, then that's a whole different story, but if that was restored and given back to the homeowners of the houses around there, then that opens up a whole can of worms.
So I have a feeling, no matter what, this conversation is going to have to continue at a future meeting.
Yeah.
And with Clee here and Chris here to discuss this.
But we've got, at least we got the
He's
base.
supposed to be here
Chris's position, I'm fine with it, is from the main at Grizzly all the way up that temporary and then into the subdivision. It's gonna be owned by somebody else, not the town.
There's no sewer extension permit that I can find. I haven't find it.
Well, that's why I think we have to,
So, I mean.
we have to
okay,
ask the
to
developer
put that
these
stuff
questions.
in,
What
out there.
he needs to
Yeah.
help us,
That
help
was a
him.
construction easement, he put a new pipe up there, but
Yeah, who gave him, where's the
for
documentation?
what? And he did hook it into the sewer. Because according to.
At least at the other end, it's-
Supposedly he had a conversation or something with the
That's my
previous
fault, I can't.
Yeah,
director.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is, and
So
I
it-
would-
there's no documentation, there's no permit.
Yeah.
So it seems like at our first meeting in October, maybe, make sure Clee and Chris come back and we are able to have this discussion.
Well, my thought is, and yes, I agree, like, obviously, this is there's a lot more to discuss here.
Yeah.
yeah. This
But
is-
I think this is a roundtable conversation with everybody, including engineers, town council representation, because
I'd have Quinn
there are
here.
there are legal impacts
Yeah, I
here.
would have Quinn here.
There's legal impacts,
Mhm, yes.
because you have a lot of different variables, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Where else in Rutland is this gonna happen also?
Right, so-
I wanna make sure we
So
said it
that's
right.
good, so we did,
I think we do a roundtable, we bring everybody in.
I'm glad we
But
had this
it's my
discussion, I'm
opinion.
glad we heard from town council, because now we got some information, and granted, it opens up other questions, but at least we're moving in a direction, and what I'll do is at our first meeting in October, I think it's on the 8th, I can arrange to have town council, Clee, and Kevin Quinn. And they could participate remotely if they need to, but at least have this discussion. And because obviously, we only have a couple parties here who are gonna make this decision or, you know,
And
provide
I know
information.
you only got 4 hours tomorrow, but I would try have, maybe even to me, get an email out to Clee, and if he's got documentation that he can provide to Chris, get it to him.
No, I'll get it
because-
out, I'll get it
Yeah,
out.
I was just gonna say that I think that's step number one, whatever
Yeah.
he has, help us help him and help
Yeah.
everybody else.
Now,
Like,
what
if
do you need
have
from
that.
him?
Basically,
Permits.
any type of permit for sewer extension.
Testing.
Any testing, any.
For this subdivision?
No, just for the extension from Grizzly to Brittenell, because that's in. So,
Good.
Any conversations, any emails?
yeah, basically a package.
Third-party tests,
Hold on,
engineering.
hold
yeah.
on. Let me catch up.
Okay, sorry, I talked too
Okay, so we
fast.
need sewer extension requests, what else?
Any, installation documentation.
Okay, hold on.
Testing.
Installation,
Correspondence?
testing, hold on. Jeez, guys go too fast. All right, so any installation testing docs
Drawings.
for that, for that
that
water and
6
sewer
On
line?
the drawing for that Hilltop Estates, it's on there.
So this is for,
That-
this is
that
for the, hold on.
pipeline Has been approved with
Okay,
that.
all right, so this is for what? For water and sewer lines from where to where?
From Grizzly to Brittenell.
Okay, Grizzly to Brittenell, okay.
It's on the
Okay.
drawing for Hilltop Estates.
I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, cause you came in and looked for it, I
I missed
provided it
that?
to him.
Somebody help me here, cause I don't remember I remember seeing the hook in.
Yeah.
At the edge of it, but I
Okay.
don't remember seeing the.
I will send an
drawings.
email tomorrow morning to Clee.
But I'd copy Chris, cause anything that Clee's got, I wanna make sure, Chris, you get your hands on it too. So you're prepped in October, you've got all the documentation.
Okay. All right, so I think that's where we stand.
The town wants me to accept that, I guess, that's up to the town.
But we're not there yet.
No.
No, we're not there yet. Let's not go there. Let's take this one step at a time.
And the other thing I was gonna ask you, Chris, is does the select board need to weigh in this since they're the sewer commission? Or is this in your bailiwick? See, what I'm trying to keep away from is
The Board
the,
of Public Works, so
okay,
to accept it, I'm sure it would have to go through them.
I just don't wanna have two opinions.
Yeah,
Doing
no, I'm
this.
sure it would have to go through them.
It's tiny.
I would hope it,
I just wanna make sure you and the select board are on the same page. That's all I'm
weigh
looking
in on
for.
it, but
Cause occasionally we have this in town and I
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen in this situation.
Okay, so I'll send that email out tomorrow. I'll CC all the board members and, what I will do is I will,
I'd probably throw Leah in there just to cover yourself,
Throw
since
who?
she's Leah, the
Okay.
chairman of the select board, cause she's the sewer commissioner, I think, am I wrong?
Well, the select board are all sewer,
Yeah.
took the place, the Board of Public Works took the place of the sewer commissioners.
Okay,
But the select board has to be involved in the easement.
oh, that's a definite, yeah.
right.
I don't even, I think we're so far from that right now, cause we
Yeah,
don't even have
again,
the paperwork.
I don't wanna go too far down. I don't
Yeah.
wanna get anyone in trouble. We haven't even gotten there yet.
I wanna get to the paperwork and make sure cause now I'm fearful just from the public utility side, there's a pipes in the ground and there's no testing.
And I will make sure that the board has copies of that page from,
they may have
Hilltop
had it
Estates.
tested, but nobody's, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
They didn't send us the info to you guys, and I haven't sent it to
Yeah.
me, so.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I can't imagine he didn't have it tested. I can't imagine.
I would, me personally.
No, I'm serious, like, that's
I
a,
agree with
your
you.
engineer would have to sign, like,
Hey, this is,
If you have
that's a
stamp
big
set-
deal, cause that's,
You've got a stamped set of drawings.
no,
you
but
got-
I mean, I would give him the benefit of the doubt on that at least hopefully it's been third-party tested, or his engineer, or someone with a stamp has said, yep, here's the documentation,
Cause there's a depth, there's a fill, there's all that stuff that goes with putting in sewer and water lines.
especially in roads, et cetera.
that info, the drawing, it's on the drawings, elevations, everything.
So I'll scan it. Now that we have the plotter, I can scan those in and include them in the next packet.
Alright, good.
I just had a comment, it'd be easier if they put, septic systems up there, wouldn't this just be much easier, they have plenty of land, and they just look what we're working with,
And they're big lots too,
Yeah,
I
they're
believe.
big enough for
Some of
this
them 8
stuff.
or 10 acres.
Yes,
They're big enough for this stuff, so it's just.
but there is wetlands up in the back,
Yeah,
so.
they got a fast perk test, maybe they wouldn't perk,
Yeah.
cheaper to put plastic pipe in the
Yeah,
ground.
we don't know that, so.
Can't,
True.
I can't.
Inch and a half plastic pipe's cheap.
I know, well, the process
And
is
an E1,
much cheaper.
an E1 will pump it 1,000 feet,
Yeah.
1,500 feet or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
They're very
intent,
creative on the drawings, I'll tell you that, but they
Yes.
yeah.
make it work.
Yeah, I gave Clea a hard time when they did the 1,800 foot up the driveways. I said, that's gonna be an interesting sell to somebody that wants to buy a house, because to your point, everything from the end of that driveway to that house is on the homeowner. Me personally, I wouldn't wanna have an 1,800 foot water and sewer line. So,
Dirt road,
on dirt road, yeah.
can move and shift, or maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't.
With snow and ice. Anyhow, okay,
Okay.
good.
All right.
Well, I
Thanks,
have to
Chris.
pay to have my driveway plowed.
Appreciate it.
Before Chris leaves, you remember I sent him an email about sewer, you know, can we have an idea how full the sewer line is and all that? Well, did you, Chris had a comment on that, and I just soon him tell the board all together here about it.
When I got the request, I reached out to our engineering firm, Western Sampson. I asked them if it's possible to come up with where we are at capacity. And the response was, it takes a very involved study with flow meters around town, because we have different sized pipes. We might have plenty of capacity in this part of that line, but we may not have it over there. And it said it's quite an involved study because of the way our lines are. And he said every town they work with, whenever anybody needs to know that, if you wanna come in with, and have a subdivision, or try to put a subdivision in, the town gets them to pick up that response, prove that there's room, they have them do that study.
Interesting.
And now the question is, but Clea already has an approved subdivision.
Yeah.
Does this make him responsible for this?
We can't, I don't think we can go back retroactively and
Probably
necessarily
not,
make,
but
and ask them to
anything
do
from here
that.
on in.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you,
Then
Chris,
I say for the next person that comes
Yep.
in here and asks for a sewer permit, must pay for the whole thing. Regardless if it's that woman right there that was just in here.
Well, you mean, hold on, Dick,
I
hold
know.
on, Dick, hold on, let me clarify. Are you talking about doing a study for the whole town when they come in for a
I
subdivision?
asked for the line that leaves Rutland.
Because, here's the thing, the planning board is only allowed to request mitigation for an area that serves that project.
so it'd have to be the line off of whatever line they were using.
You can't ask someone doing a subdivision, for instance, to say, hey, we want you to pay for a study to determine how much capacity we have on the opposite end of town. You can't do that.
So,
It has to affect
How it was
their
explained to me
project.
is that they just, most towns
Yes.
just have whoever wants to come in and do the building.
Yeah.
that was gonna be
Pick up
my,
that
my next
study.
question. Chris, do you know if Noble Hill has a sewer extension permit
Yes, they
already?
do.
So they do, so they're good at that point, even though we don't know what the capacity is off of that line off of Main Street, they've already got the sewer extension permit, so they can go. Okay, that was my concern.
So does the sewer line overflow when half of the Rutland Heights is put in and there was allowed by the town 36,000 gallons?
Don't know.
Who's held responsible then? The town?
The other thing,
I'm just
so we have,
saying, you know,
and we have, but we have a pretty big expenditure coming up and, that kinda hit our books on the CIPC level, which is in direct relation to what we're talking about. So for the sewer pipe replacement for about $10 million in 2030, I think is our request. So that sewer study will that be that's obviously gotta be a part of that equation.
Yeah, it would have to be, we'd have to do something.
Yeah.
because but that infrastructure change, that's just to replace old nasty pipe, that's not like.
Like resizing and saying, hey, we have an 8-inch line, we need a 10.
No, because you still can only put so much down through the meter and hold it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's,
Once we get so much pumping there every day, and it gets to capacity.
Do they close
then
the gates on us?
we're good to go. You put all the big pipes you want in, they're just storage then.
So that's not a redesign in 2030, Chris, it's just a
Oh, no,
replacement,
all that is just to replace,
old cast
Old
iron from
cast.
100 years old, or
But
70.
Dick,
or clay pipe.
your point is good. When
Clay pipe.
so when someone comes in with a project or a subdivision, say, you need to look at the sewer capacity that's gonna affect your project and show the board and the DPW that we have
That should be
capacity for
part
that.
of, that should be part of the before it even gets to us, because if they can't do the capacity, why waste the time doing the subdivision?
I don't know if that, as a staff, I can't ask them to do that necessarily.
Okay.
Unless you put it in your regulations as a submission requirement.
And we have allowed the heights, the homes over there, the over 55, at 36,000, that was already allocated for them. So that's why I'm saying we need to bring in 36,000 gallons of water and put it into find out what happens.
Plus, on that is the way that line goes through the old Heights line.
Yep,
So that's a direct line straight down to Prescott Street.
yep.
There's
To the new
not a
line.
lot of other
Feeds into it.
flow on
Yeah,
it, starts there and then goes down.
That's probably a huge
It
line.
doesn't tie into a Blueberry down there somewhere, and down there, there's two main lines, there's a 12 and a 16.
So I haven't been a part of a full start to finish approval for a subdivision with this board. But typically, won't we take either letters of recommendations or changes from different entities in the town, i.e. fire?
Yep.
DPW.
Yep.
So as part of your review, I mean, we would really rely on you to say, hey, that's great, you wanna put 47 homes there, fantastic, but our sewer line can't do that. Or I would need to see a study before I'm comfortable with this moving
Yep.
forward.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're gonna need your feedback. when
So
we do
that, you would be like our first point of defense, cause we
Yes.
can't, I don't know that we can enforce them. I mean, we can by recommendation.
Right.
And then voting appropriately, if someone wants to move forward, even though.
Yeah.
Our DPW director says no.
So Chris can make that comment.
Right.
But he can't make them do it. He could
No.
make that comment to the board, and then it would be the board.
As a part of our approval and
Correct.
vote would be, no, we wanna see
That's,
this.
yeah. 'cause
That's typically the order of operations,
Yeah.
because we're not professional DPW.
Yep.
We're not, I mean, well,
I'm good
some of
with
us
that.
are,
No,
but.
I know that's a good solution, cause we send them out to all of the department heads for comments.
Yep.
When we
So
get
that's really gotta be like one of your first, I mean, obviously this is an issue, so.
Do you have a good relationship with DCR and West Boylston?
I don't know too many of them from West Boylston, but I don't know, is that Paula Davidson from West Boylston?
It could be Paula, yes, it is
There's two
Paula,
Paulas,
but,
there's two Paulas, one is
Yeah.
Paula Davidson, I'm not sure the other one, the other one's more with, Kyle deals with it for the water a lot, but
I was thinking of the
I
director.
don't think
now.
anybody has a real good relationship with the DCI about that whole area right now, so.
Exactly, because over the years, I can remember an awful lot of, going back and forth, so I got funny feelings that it isn't very good. And, unfortunately, because I can't remember names very fast nowadays, but he used to live in town here, and he was on the Concom with me way back when, and he is the director down there. Now,
Well, when you talk about residential growth going forward, that could be a mitigating factor. That could be something that we may
Well, that's-
actually moderate growth a little bit going forward, is the sewer
And
capacity.
that's one of the things I wanted to bring up later on that home. The state is pushing.
The direct deal with that would be lot size, so that you have room to put a septic system.
There you go. Okay.
One comment, so you said different pipe sizes all over town, would it be something where, if a pipe size is obviously way too small for any capacity, say a subdivision capacity, would you say that this is just high risk until this line gets changed? Nothing could happen here, as a way to,
You can only put so much down a pipe, so.
before you're gonna wreck it,
You
so
know,
I
because
mean,
that DCR line comes through town, and as it gets further out to town, it steps down in size.
yeah.
So where it actually comes back out over here on Main Street,
Yeah.
it's not as large as it is. It goes out of town 16 inches and 12 inches next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just,
But the
I think I understand what you're
16-inch
asking
line-
though is, and that's a part of his review process that we kinda just talked about a little bit was his feedback and saying, hey, look, this is an 8-inch and you've put 100 homes on it, it's not gonna, you can't do that. Or the developer can replace the entire line all the way back up to this point, in which case that's a lot of money. Maybe they do, maybe they don't,
But
but
another thing that, Chris, you had
seems
mentioned.
like people
there
can
was a
say, I wanna
2-inch
do a subdivision here, and then you
line
don't
that
you don't
went-
know what's in the ground.
right, exactly.
Instead of-
Guys, can we have one conversation, please?
was it Bear Hill you were saying is, from this all the way, Lenny Gengels, picked up Lenny Gengels and went up the hill, it was a 2-inch pressure line or something like that you were saying?
Where?
That's Brittenell that comes around the
Brittenell.
corner and goes up the old
Brittenell.
Bear Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes up to,
Pump station up on
no, it doesn't go to a pump station, it goes to a manhole and then it goes gravity.
Oh, gravity, okay.
But
But
it's
it-
pumped, it's all E1s.
Yeah.
It's mostly liquid, it's
Yeah.
not that big a deal, but there's a lot of houses hooked to it.
There's a lot of,
Goes up
and
an
that's
awful
what it,
mountain,
yeah,
but it ties in right at Arrowhead into a manhole and then
Yeah.
flows gravity from there
Oh,
down.
from down, okay.
yeah,
But it all ends up on the Miles Road Pump Station.
that's right.
Which is running every 15 minutes and it's,
Is that, Chris, the oldest pump station in town, Miles? That's what I heard.
yeah, it used to be
You're
just
gonna
a
be getting,
Devereaux.
you're gonna be getting a big bill from that sooner or later.
But all of that, all that new stuff up there, Grizzly, all that stuff,
Yeah,
they all pump up the hill, then it goes
Gravity
to
feed down,
Miles.
yeah, gravity feeds to Miles.
Grizzly pumps up to the top of Cleveland Circle or whatever it is up
Yes.
there.
Yeah,
And then it flows all the way to Miles Road.
and then pumped from there, so
Yeah,
that pump
pump.
station
And
basically,
Miles Road.
you think that 2-inch line, or I think you said it
Oh,
was
no, the
2-inch
2-inch line goes from along Brittenell and up to Arrowhead.
and up to Arrowhead?
the E1s are doing all the work.
Yeah, but
They are.
is there enough room for a
Which
Hilltop
is not
to
a
be
big
attached
deal,
to it?
cause
No.
it just sits there until one of them decides to run.
Yeah,
Chances of all of them running at the same time is very slim. Might happen in the morning when one or two comes on at a time, but
Yeah.
I know the newer systems that you have, if you wanna hook into a pressure line, they have switching electronically, so if it starts to pump and it feels pressure, it shuts off and waits. And tries again, that's,
Yeah, it's sort of like the domino ding ding.
yeah,
Yeah,
if it feels like there's too much pressure there,
So you don't
the time's
overpressure
out
it.
and they'll go back on. That's a system that you can buy now for those, for hooking into pressurized sewer lines, so.
but I can guarantee you that's not on Brittenell Day.
No.
No. No, Hilltop, I'm
That's
just thinking
just
Hilltop
plastic
adding
pipe all
to it.
glued together.
Okay,
All right, cool.
great, thanks,
all right,
Chris.
thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
time.
in.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your
Good
time.
evening.
Appreciate it.
You too.
Since we're still on Hilltop. This has nothing to do with the sewer. I talked to John a little bit, and I just wanna bring it before the board. I don't know the legalities, but if part of that subdivision is in tax title, what does that mean for our approval process?
I've been told legally it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Okay, I just don't know how we could approve something that's not owned by a developer.
I know some communities I've worked in, like Stoughton, that wouldn't allow an application to go forward if the taxes were not current. However, I've been told by the town clerk, basically that unless we have that provision in the bylaws, there's really not much we can do. We can't necessarily hold up an application or hold up an approval because somebody owes taxes. Cause it's considered, it's a separate department, it's not, it's,
That provision is in the bylaws.
okay,
There's an entire bylaw about withholding.
where is it?
It's in the general bylaws. It's financial chapter, which is chapter 4. Maybe it's article 4.
Well, I'm gonna have to look at that to see if it pertains to.
That's incredible. Can
Because it
I just say that's incredible?
It specifically says
Yeah.
that any permitting board can withhold a permit or withdraw a permit when taxes are not paid.
Okay, so I'll look at that.
Unless there's a tax title agreement,
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
That's
there's a
only
lot
one
more to it
breakup.
than that, but
Okay, all right.
I wanted to bring that up, cause
Yep.
I was fearful
Thank
we go
you.
down.
That was amazing.
So let me include that in a future package, so the board
Alright,
has that
perfect.
information.
I just wanted to throw it in front of the
Yep.
board.
Okay, great, awesome.
I mean, I think we're so far from getting to that final stage right now with everything we've got.
I think Mr.
Yeah, throw
Blair
more
ought to
stuff on
forward.
top of this, Tim, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, easements, me personally, working Eversource, I'm dealing with easements right now, that's just months, if not years, to get easements in Worcester, so I can imagine what this is gonna be. But anyhow, that's enough, alright, good.
This needs to go to well and septic.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
I don't know, why not?
Yeah, but that property up there,
If it
I'm not
perks,
sure.
we should ask him if it does.
Anyhow, alright.
Anyways, here we go.
Next.
Next item. Memo from KP Law. Affordable Homes Act.
Yeah, I don't wanna get too deep into this, I just want to introduce it because I attended a webinar today. Austin, Harold and I had a Zoom meeting with Amy at KP Law last week. I want to introduce it to the board. Right now, there were 300 people on the webinar today. Unfortunately, because what the legislature has passed is so vague, let's put it this way, they have an activation date of February 2nd, 2025. It's a Sunday. They didn't even look at their calendars to make sure they were activating this during the week. So I am going to make a presentation to the board at a meeting in October, and I will have town council there to answer any questions, because I can't answer all the questions, because honestly, the questions that were coming up today, town council couldn't even answer them because the state gave no guidance. They just dropped this in people's laps, and towns are trying to adjust, basically.
Not the state,
Yeah.
they wouldn't
Can
do
we have
that.
an unfunded mandate?
Yep.
Or have the state take care of the sewer?
So anyway, so basically, the gist of this is, and so the strategy is going to be thus, because they gave a date of February 2nd, 2025. Austin seems to think, like with MBTA community guidelines for multifamily housing, the state will get pushback from the towns and will give more leeway, because that's not even time to get something before Springtown meeting, but
It will happen.
But town council has said, if we open a public hearing for this bylaw change in January and keep it open through town meeting in May, that will stop the clock. And that will give us time to bring this to Springtown meeting, to amend our bylaw. And so I've talked to Norm about this, I've talked to Tim about this. The gist of it is they want single accessory dwelling units to be allowed by no more than site plan approval. They'd love it to be by right in any zoning district where you allow single family or two-family housing. The other thing is they do put a dimensional limitation that's actually stricter than what we have right now. It's half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling or 900 square feet, whichever is less. The thing that's gonna cause towns problems are, they do say that you should require a special permit for this, but they want to allow multiple accessory dwelling units, which means you're turning single-family homes into apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So, and the other issue with that is it doesn't supersede the building code, so Harold says, anytime you get to 3 dwelling units or more,
Which is 2 accessories on one house.
yes, you kick into a commercial structure, which means sprinklers, all that stuff, it's
Considered multifamily.
it's considered
What we've
multifamily.
done is we've taken a Worcester 3-decker and done this.
Yeah.
Essentially, so I'm gonna, you know, I've been gathering information, and I will do a presentation to the board in October, and I will ask town council to be there, because I can't answer a lot of these questions in an educated way. But that was the strategy that Amy at KP gave to us, is if we open a public hearing at our first meeting in January and keep it open until town meeting, that gives us a chance to work on a bylaw, on tweaking our bylaw to basically balance appeasing what the state wants, but at the same time protecting Rutland. And so that's the big thing, is the multiple ADUs. So,
Now, is the select board also gonna protect the people in Rutland that wanna protect their property from this happening? And coming up with a way of doing it?
they can't do anything. The select board don't, this is the planning board and the bylaw subcommittee writing a bylaw. Because the state has basically said they want this, and the thing
So,
that.
you mean I can't go out and get a CR put on my piece of property that no other dwellings can be put on it?
You could.
You could.
do a deed restriction,
Again,
yeah.
Dick,
Deed
don't,
restrictions,
Dick, don't
okay.
ask me, I don't know the answers to
You
those,
could do
so
a deed
please.
restriction, absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is
Yep.
maybe the select board or tell the town there are other options.
Dick, that'd be a good thing for when KP's here to say,
Yes.
is this an option?
Yes, save your
This is a-
questions for KP, because
Yeah.
I can't answer
I think that'd be
that,
a
because I'm not
great
an attorney. So believe me, there's gonna be a lot of time, what towns are really upset about is the fact that the state, unlike in the past where they've told towns, listen, we're gonna give you enough time to get this to town meeting, this is the first time, not only have they not given us the option of picking a zoning district, they're saying this has to be in effect for all your residential zoning districts where you allow single or two-family homes, but they gave us a drop dead date, and they don't seem to have considered town meeting, going before town meeting. They're like, nope, this is when it has to be in effect.
And John, if I'm not mistaken, this wasn't a law that went through House and Senate, it was an executive act from.
I don't know that.
Okay,
I
all right.
can't answer that. I don't know that level of
KP
what
can answer
happened.
that. That was my frustration.
I'm just trying to
They
deal with this.
They took the skunk and threw it on the table and see
Yeah.
what comes out of it, is what.
Well, and even KP admits that there's a lot of this, but at the same time, their language has been very vague as far as what's considered reasonable conditions or reasonable regulations. So if they're gonna be vague, then the town can be vague, you know? So it's gonna be a balancing act, again, to appease the state, because I don't want people to be able to come in and challenge the board and basically bring appeals and lawsuits and things like that. But at the same time, make sure that the town is protected, because that's the big thing is, yeah, if you want to allow single accessory dwelling units by right or by site plan approval instead of special permit, that's not as big of a deal, but it's the multiple ADUs. But here's what Harold said today, and again, we keep hearing more questions and gathering information almost daily, because this just got dropped. But the concern is that a developer could come in and propose a subdivision with single-family homes with boom, 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 ADUs, but this is for existing homes. It's not for new projects. So, and the state doesn't differentiate between attached and detached ADUs. So they would like to have both. They would love to have attached ADUs and detached ADUs.
But they make it vague, which gives us the opportunity to fix that.
Correct. So this is gonna be a process of going through our bylaws and,
Well, the important thing is we've got a bylaw in place.
yes,
That's the important thing right
Yes.
now. So
Yes.
all we gotta do is tweak it and do what if we need to enhance it, we can, just as long as, and again, to John's point, if enough towns push back on the state, again, I don't know if this is a law or if it's the executive order. What happens if 70% of the towns in Mass go,
Well, and
So the opportunity zones is is something that happened very similar to, the housing crisis, right? So that's where they forced it down, a lot of town that run the MBTA lines.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you're within
Yes.
this, you have to, it took away a lot of the town's power, town and cities. So, but that eventually still went through. So
but they kind of backed off on some of their
they
guidelines.
did, but the majority, well, I wouldn't say the majority, I'd say a good portion of it, the core essence of what it was remained in place.
Yeah.
The core essence of what this is will probably remain in place unless there's a change of power at a political level, but that's nothing we can control here. What we have to control, we have to get ahead of this.
Well,
And if we can, anything that we can implore on our end to stop the clock,
Yes.
no, we
have this brought up before the, other people in the town and make sure that we have an appropriate plan to address it. Because it's gonna happen. It's just, right now they're vague and they just kind of threw it out there on the table, like Tim was saying, but
Yeah.
it's, the core essence of this is going to happen.
And to be honest.
we cover our butts
Yep.
and wait for the dust to settle.
And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think some of this is very radical. I really don't. The parts that are concerning is the multiple ADUs.
Well, and the detached portion, so
Yes.
you can literally have a single family home.
And
If I'm a
Tiny home, tiny home, tiny
I'm
home.
a developer, I'm reading this and I'm like, I'm getting excited about this, cause I'm
Yes.
like, whoa, hey.
and
This works
what's
for me.
scary is this.
have a garage
Hold on,
apartment.
this woman who came before us tonight.
Now when I reno a house, I can add 2
A day after I got
apartments.
this from KP, her architect is calling me saying, "Oh, she doesn't need a special permit now, right?" I said, "No, we haven't changed our bylaws, and we won't until 2025." So it's almost like they're ready to pounce. And that's why we need to stop the clock so we can deal with this, so we don't have a rush of applicants coming in trying to do this. So as soon as that first legal advertisement hits the paper for a bylaw amendment, that stops the clock for us. So if we do our first meeting in January, which is the second Tuesday, that first legal advertisement will be in late December. And the deadline's February 2nd, so we'll basically, that'll buy us some time to get to town meeting in the spring.
And I wanna ask the board, if we open a public hearing, we can't refer this to the subcommittee, can we? We've gotta deal with it at the board level, is that correct? That's why I wanna throw that out there, cause typically, we send these to the subcommittee, but if we open
It's a
a
big
hearing,
question, I think.
I don't know, that's why,
We should be able to still sell. Already.
okay. I just wanted to make sure, cause typically we've sent to, which is the planning board anyhow, right now, but,
Well, that'll be a KP question.
yeah,
That'll be
yeah,
a KP question, yeah, just to make sure. Because if the planning board has an active public hearing, the bylaw subcommittee meets on another night and the public hearing has been continued.
Yeah.
You can't discuss that outside of the public hearing
Exactly, that
potentially.
was my concern.
My gut instinct is probably not, but let's hear from KP on that.
Yeah, okay, good enough.
So, anyway, so this is just for the board to be introduced to it. Again, we're kind of trying to play catch-up, and a lot of
That does not make sense,
what's that?
because you open up a public hearing, let's say a subcommittee has been working on this thing, you open a public hearing, and all of a sudden some issues come up. Does that mean then you can't go back to the subcommittee to make those changes?
Yeah. KP's gonna have,
Yes.
Norm, I'm struggling with that, but again, the big thing is we're getting in front of this now. And having that January start date is good for us, cause then,
Yeah.
yeah, cause now we're giving the state and all the communities 3 or 4 months to decide what they're gonna do with this and what kind of backlash they're gonna push back at the state.
Right, because we don't know that yet, because this is so new, this is like less than a month old, where, the dust, like, to Norm's point, the dust hasn't come close to settling yet. It'll settle over the next month or two.
But I think in Britain's comments, this ain't going away.
No, it's not.
It's
It
just.
has to be dealt with.
The core of it will remain intact.
There'll still be something, yes.
Right.
Which, again, we got in front of this, we passed a bylaw already, so all we gotta do is.
And the other thing is, like with the MBT community guidelines, they said you need to pick an area, like the adult entertainment, you need to pick an area. With marijuana, you need to pick an area.
Yeah.
This is the first time they said, no, you can't pick an area, this has to be
All-inclusive.
applicable, all-inclusive, and that's what's bothering towns too, is, to your point, Dick, this is the state mandating what towns do, and a lot of towns don't like that. And.
Because they're all so different, you can't boilerplate.
Right.
It's
Cambridge
insane.
and Rutland, I'm missing the.
Right? Or Framingham and, I mean, there's so many, yeah. so-
I think I just heard DCR just bought the rest of Rutland up.
Okay.
Watershed.
Everything must go.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, so,
Okay.
more to come on this, obviously, in the coming couple of months.
But as of today, it's business as usual, correct?
Yes, so just, again, if you wanna look stuff up online and kinda educate yourself on this, I would definitely encourage that,
Is
and
this-
just prepare for this.
Just a comment, is this the entire document?
No,
Or is this just what
the
they were
entire
kind of-
document's hundred eighty-one
summarization.
pages.
Well, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say, is this the worst of it, or is there other things?
It's basically the part that pertains to zoning.
Okay.
Because there's lots to this housing act, but this is the part, these are the parts that pertain to zoning and the planning
We should
board and our,
address.
and our duties.
I think it said if you can adjust, or you still have to abide by frontage rules and
Yes,
stuff like that, so there
Yes.
they didn't give it all away, it sounded like.
no, but
we gotta
the
work
biggest
with
concern is the allowance of multiple accessory dwelling units.
And they didn't even, Keith, they didn't even think about have a committee look into what the actual codes was, they just, to my point again, the skunk got on the table and
They
good luck.
didn't even consider the fact that this can't trump the state building code. The other thing that is really bothersome about this is the building code part of it, and the fact that, like I said, the affordable housing, it's the title is the Act for Affordable Housing.
the opposite.
Yet there's no regulations in here to make sure that these are affordable. So every accessory dwelling unit that goes in counts against our 10% of affordable housing. It knocks us down because it's a market rate unit. So it's the Affordable Housing Act, but what's to ensure that these are affordable? There's nothing. Someone can charge however much rent they want for one of these. So there's no rent control, there's no affordability component.
And Norm, the one thing I'd mentioned to Lee already, I said, you do know that this sort of kills your growth management thought process.
Yeah.
It just blows it out of the water because you're adding these potential houses with another 2.5 kids.
Yep.
Well, this lends credence to the idea that Chapter 40B, from what I heard over the years, a couple people told me that Chapter 40B was pushed through by lobbyists for the construction industry to bypass local zoning. This seems like another end around
Exactly what it is.
around local zoning.
Yep.
I can do a cluster development and not need
exactly.
town approval.
Exactly, so, anyway, just wanted to introduce this tonight, there's a lot more to come, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, next item.
Yes.
Email from Julie Moore, CMRPC.
Yes, so, what is being requested of the board, and I think I attached the email in your pocket, is there's a request from CMRPC that the planning board donate 4 to 5 hours of its 20 municipal assistance time for CMRPC to prepare a comprehensive street map of the town, which we do not have. No map that we have, zoning map or otherwise, has every street name on it. So they're requesting that the planning board agree to donate 4 to 5 hours of time to accomplish this for the town.
I make a motion that we do not allow them any time whatsoever, because it is Anita's job for any streets in the town of Rutland. It's her job to come up with a map. Not somebody else, Anita.
Is this a really fancy map? You know, like-
Well, I'm gonna be completely honest here, and I'm gonna sound like an idiot, but how do we not have a street map?
We don't have a comprehensive
just a
street map of the
list?
town.
Don't have an official one.
I mean,
There are street maps, but there's
Yeah,
nothing.
well, yeah, cause
how do we get chapter 90 money?
well, that's kinda like, and when we do a review of a road, how do we not know what road that is?
Mr. Chair, it is not Anita's job to come up with a map. Anita's job is the list of streets by the bylaw, only a list.
Okay.
And to be perfectly honest with you, someone look up Mass General laws under planning board. I actually think the planning board is responsible
Yes.
for creation of the map of the town.
And many town reports that I've read, over the years, yes, the planning board is responsible.
So, does anyone wanna make a motion to
No,
donate that
I
time?
do not want them to do it. That's my feelings only, because I feel that it is up to us, not them.
Can we see what they'll
Confused.
make for us?
Okay,
without-
which one of us is a cartographer?
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't we
Good
have?
drawing.
That's a $4 word right there, Norm.
I'm impressed.
I mean, where is the map stored? It's not like Google
Who else
Maps.
would we go to?
Yeah.
Google, GIS.
Who do you have in town right now that's putting out maps? Board of Assessors.
Yeah, but they gotta go to somebody, don't they?
They're not creating their own.
No, they send it out, and it's all there. And then why can't Anita, verify that the roads are correct?
I don't wanna make a mountain out of a molehill, but shouldn't we have like 99% of this? I mean, what is the CMRPC, like, what are they wanting to see that they don't have?
I mean, that right there is what I was gonna have brought up at the end there. That's our, GIS map.
Let me ask a question to what Britton's saying.
For what?
For their 5 hours, are they gonna take our existing street map? What I'm trying to get at is, I get this email, but I'm a proposal guy. I wanna see a proposal of what they're gonna give us, other than 3 line items here. Give me an example of what you've done in the past. Cause I know it's only 5 hours, I get that, and I appreciate the work they're gonna do, but I really wanna see what we're gonna get for this. I mean, cause Norm, with some of the.
Both what and how.
Yes, exactly, because we worked on the master plan, and there was a lot of stuff that was given to us from other towns, and I was fighting that a lot when I was on the Zoom calls. So I'd really wanna see from Julia, give me a proposal of what you're gonna do, give me an example of what you've done this for other towns, so we can see in front of the board, is this worth our money, or to Britton's point?
Tamika, are you hearing this?
Yes, I am. I'm not sure specifically what the email is that you had given them, if it was just Julia's email, but.
It was
this all-
Julie's email and your FYI below that you had sent to me, Tamika.
Oh, okay, yeah, because this all stemmed from a request from the schools to have a street map for a project that they do each year, I believe in the 1st or 2nd grade. And when I started doing some digging and speaking to other departments, we discovered that we didn't have anything. So I had reached out to CMRPC and said, is this something that you guys would have access to. And they said, no, but we can certainly create one. We've done this for other communities. And then John had said, well, about how many hours would it take? And that's when I reached out to Julia, and she kind of broke down what it would look like. So just a little bit of history of that. This didn't totally come out of the blue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's,
What,
yeah, I'm with you, what are we getting?
Yeah.
It says a very basic map would probably be 1 to 2 hours, I guess, what are we gonna get out of that I can't go on a GIS for, or any other mapping service that's readily available on the internet?
it's free.
Did I hear correctly, it's for the school system?
Yeah.
It's not for us, so it's like
Well-
a donation.
Well, Keith, it would be for us. It's just the request from the school system is what prompted us to say that, we don't have like an actual document that we could put up on the wall or could hand to somebody without saying, hey, you got to go pull it up on the GIS kind of thing.
Engineered to a certain degree.
And see, Tamika, that's where, I guess I'm sorry Chris is gone, but I know Joe did a study for all of the streets that need repaired in town, which was every street, and then prioritized and came up with monies. So somebody would have had to have a map to be able to do that study. And because you can't just go to a street and say that's 2.5 million to do that street. You're gonna have to have a physical map to be able to see how many feet, how wide it is. So that's why I'm struggling. We've gotta have something somewhere.
We use zoning maps, we use
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess, what is a very basic map? Is this like a poster, Tamika, like that we could put on a wall? That is so
we could
deep?
we could request different things. We could request different sizes. So it's kind of up to us how detailed we would want it to be.
The only thing is, Tamika, if you get down to a certain size, it becomes impossible to read with the size of Rutland. Rutland is a very large
All I
town.
would ask.
Cool sandy beach, and look at all those little roads.
All I would ask is, I think we could still keep this alive, but just ask CMRPC, could you give us a proposal and give us some examples of what you've done?
Or even just an
Tell us
example.
All the towns that you've done.
Yeah.
I think that's easy enough.
Okay.
And then the board can make it, cause right now, I couldn't make an informed decision off this and without seeing in front of me, cause I'm a Missouri guy, you gotta show me.
All right, so it sounds like, Tamika, if you've been in contact with Julie at CMRPC, if you could just ask her for an example of another street map they've done in another town?
Yep, I'll follow up with Julia.
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
I think, and then in October, we can look at that for the
That's fine.
board and,
Yep.
and decide. Cause if we don't have one, I'm really scared right now. Cause how the heck did,
Nothing would surprise me.
how do we do chapter 90 money? How did
Yeah.
Joe come up with that priority list for all of the streets that need repaired? I'm struggling, cause who was I'm trying to think of the engineering firm up in Maine that did that for us. It's not Shaw, it was,
Stantec.
what's that?
Stantec?
Stantec.
Stantec,
Thank you,
yeah,
Stantec, yes.
they're big.
I work with them a lot. They would have had to have something, and I was curious if maybe we asked Joe, what, that report, because it was pretty thick, what was included with that from Stantec? Because that map might be in there. That's just a
They
thought
had all the-
process.
They had all the streets on it.
They had
You got a
every
good-
street in Rutland, and it was prioritized with cost, length, everything, so.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's just
So
a
yeah,
thought.
so yeah, we'll follow up on that and
Okay,
get
good
an
enough.
example for you guys. Thank you, Tamika.
Okay, next item, email from Quinn Engineering.
Yeah, so the last thing that the board needs to address tonight is this surety estimate that you had asked for Brittenell Estates. That's included in your packet. For phase 1, including drainage and Quail Run Drive from Grizzly to Detention Basin 2. Phase 2, surety covered infrastructure in Quail Run. So you can see the table in the back, so.
I don't have
Yeah,
that,
we don't have stuff like
Okay, all right.
sorry.
Yeah, I've only got,
It should be in the electronic packet I sent out.
Is it on the screen?
All right.
Yeah, I'm on the last page here
Alright.
with just
Is
the
it on the
email.
screen?
No, I don't have it on the screen.
We need those old school projectors where you can like put it here and.
Yeah.
I just got a microfiche from
Is it
town.
old school?
So,
feel like-
so suffice,
feel like it is.
suffice to say that,
Microfilm is
Kevin,
cool.
Quinn Engineering worked with Clea on this because his initial one that he sent me the other day was higher than this, but then he got a call from Clea and agreed that certain things should be taken off, so I believe the surety, well, so basically, the way is this, unless usually the way it's worked before in other towns I've worked in is usually the board approves this unless there's a disagreement between the developer and the engineer. Whereas Quinn has worked with Clean, they're both in agreement on this. This is really an administrative thing. Because there's no conflict here. In fact, in Stoughton, the planning board allowed staff to do this administratively without going to them because they're like, we only wanna see it if there's a disagreement.
Well, the reason was okay with this is cause in Quinn's email, he indicated, and I trust Kevin explicitly, this is a minor change. I was good with that, cause if it's a major change, we gotta go back to the whole plan.
Is this the one that has?
No, this is the surety. This is surety.
Oh, am I looking at?
It's missing
This is
from
to
the-
finish the roadways.
It's missing from the
You don't, you don't.
Yeah, I didn't include in the package, I
Revised site
apologize.
plans, Brittenell Estates, revision
that's what
date
this
3/7/22. I'm sorry, he just handed this to me,
Yeah,
so.
I apologize.
So this is based off of revisions.
So if
Is that
the,
part of the email that Quinn sent for the stormwater?
yeah, I did forward I think I did I don't know, I don't have my computer open, but if you want me to put this on for in a future meeting, I can do that. This doesn't have to be done
There's
tonight.
there's a zero surety for the stormwater there.
Okay, so anyway, let's not deal with this tonight.
Okay.
I will deal with this, so let me get this information to you at the next available meeting. And, so that brings up the last item of business. I'm not gonna be around on the 24th. Right now, there's nothing on the agenda for the 24th. We have no projects coming forward. So it's gonna be up to the board whether or not you meet on the 24th. Because starting in October, we're gonna deal with the master plan, because I'm meeting with Dick and Tim on October 3rd to finish the revisions to that. We're gonna have the affordable housing stuff to deal with. We may have public hearings for zoning bylaw amendments for the November town meeting, so it's gonna get busy here, but there's nothing right now for the 24th. So
This is my suggestion for the 24th.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
I think because we haven't, I'm not looking for a long meeting, but I think we should have a meeting and basically call it a business meeting and come up with an outline of what we need to attack. I'm not saying we come up with, we're gonna do this that date, but let's come up with, we wanna take a look at the subdivision plans or subdivision regs, and this section, we need to have somebody take a look at, not go into doing anything about it, but come with an outline of what we need to do in the next 12 months, 6 months, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should do at this September meeting, that's my opinion.
So let's go,
I'm not saying we should get into any details, but let's come up with an
So
outline.
obviously, since I'm not around, you'll have to put together an agenda with Tamika and have her post that.
That's why I was like the agenda item, business meeting outline for, business, or outline for, zoning bylaws. Or zoning bylaws and, subdivision regulations.
No, what were the red lines in that?
For it.
Was that part of Rolling Ridge?
Cause there's a lot of balls in the air right now.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this is something we have to do anytime soon, but I wanna get, where does the board wanna concentrate on in the future? Cause we've got a lot of stuff that, to John's point, stuff's starting to come in, and we haven't updated anything in years.
Well, I know we've talked about a couple things, Tim. I have it on my to-do list to look at estate lot regulations in other
Yeah.
towns for
Rolling Ridge.
That's Rolling
for
Ridge, yes, it is.
wetland upland ratio.
But I can't
I know.
remember, did we have special?
I'm listening, go ahead.
No, I don't wanna talk over
Any
people.
special permits or conditions? Is that electronic or is that,
No, I'm sure it's not.
yeah,
No.
well, it's not only that subdivision, but there are, other subdivisions. Are the CRs still correct? And have they been properly maintained or all that stuff?
The one good thing, Dick, and I'll go back to John, is
I have
that
no idea.
before Dave left,
That's archived upstairs.
he organized a lot of the files that John's got, so some of our old stuff that's paper are in those files. That's the one.
But mine only go back 6 years. So if it's older, I don't have it.
Yeah, this goes back, what,
Oh,
in the
crap.
90s?
Yeah.
Oh,
Norm, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just confused. I'm lost on what we're talking about.
We're talking about potentially you mean what they're talking about or what we were talking
Yeah,
about?
we diverged and I don't know where we landed.
I don't know. What are you guys talking about? I don't know either. This is why we need to have one
We were just
conversation.
talking about an older subdivisions. This is an older subdivision, and I'm just questioning Norm about the red lines in there. Are they historic, are they, yeah, who knows what?
Well, I don't
And to
know.
this day and age, for crying out loud, is there something there that the town should be more involved in and not? Who knows?
So, no, getting back to subdivision rules and regs, I have it on my to-do list. I know Keith brought up a point previously, and I think it's a good idea of establishing a maximum slope for driveways in subdivisions, so they're not too steep. So, I have a couple things on my to-do list to look at, but it's up to you guys if you guys wanna meet on the 24th.
I think we should just come up with an outline of where we want to attack, cause we haven't had a business meeting in 7-8 years.
Cleve wants 10%, and planning board had 8.
Okay.
And I say
Oh, yeah.
2. No, but I think, again, this meeting, I don't want it to be 4 or 5 hours, an hour and a half. Let's come up with an outline and then we can present that to when you get back, John, here's where we're looking to attack. And then just work it in. Cause we really haven't, we've been just dealing with the issues, we haven't been getting caught up. And I'm afraid that the way the economy's gone and the way housing prices are jumping, we're gonna have a slew of stuff coming in A&Rs and subdivisions down the road, that's my gut.
Yeah, and if they throw a packet like this at you.
Yeah, and then you've got this coming in, so I just, again, get ahead of the game is what I'm looking at, and maybe we don't come up with anything.
We do have a
but
bylaw subcommittee meeting on the 25th, the day I
Yep,
come back.
yeah,
so
we gotta
can
get
have one
that,
night.
battery thing ready to
Yes.
go.
Well, that's another issue, is we still don't know whether or not we're having a special town meeting in November. The select board have not decided that. Regardless of that, what I've been advised is the battery energy storage bylaw may be best suited for the spring town meeting.
Do that too, I'm fine
So,
with that.
we'll go forward with the housekeeping items in November if they have a meeting, but that one is gonna wait until the spring most likely.
Okay, that's fine.
So are we in agreement on the second meeting in September?
I think we should.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I just checked.
What was it? Just the fourth Tuesday?
Yeah, well, I don't know what the date is.
Do you want me to put together a quick draft agenda tomorrow morning and get it to Tamika and the board before I leave, so you guys have something?
Yeah, cause I think it should be, Norm, it should just be like a general discussion.
Yeah. So Tamika, I'll draft up a quick, brief, one-item agenda tomorrow and get it to you, so it doesn't have to be posted now, obviously.
Okay, that's fine. And John, you can include the minutes from tonight, because I'll make sure those are done too.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay, is there
Thank you, gentlemen.
anything else to come before the board?
I didn't have that. Oh, did we, and this maybe for John, Tamika, or Norm, did we get anybody applying for the associate at this point?
I don't think so.
Oh, we haven't had anybody,
Okay, I was curious.
unfortunately. I even reposted it, this past Friday on social media, and we have it, posted inside the buildings as well, and unfortunately, our office has not received any interest.
Okay.
Tamika's been accosting people who walk by town hall asking.
Yeah, no, Tamika, then I've seen it.
I saw it on the sign out front.
Yeah,
I've seen social media on it, it's there, it just doesn't, that's why I was curious if we get any
I
interest.
think she included the words pretty please.
Yeah. Come be a party member.
I even offered a cherry on top, but no bite.
Then you've done everything you can.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry, motion. Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Excellent.